What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I'm going to be doing a video that's been requested for quite a long time, and that is part 2 to my top 5 class mistakes. Now I did the first episode, I think it was like a couple months ago now, it's been a while, but I said like if there was enough interest I would do another one, and there was tons and tons of interest, I just haven't gotten around to it until today. So if you guys missed that one, I will leave a link here on the screen as well as in the description below, you can go and check that out. But today we're going to be going over 5 more class mistakes that are very common in Black Ops 3. Now before we get into this, I just wanted to mention that some of this is going to be based on personal opinion and playstyle, but I'm going to back everything up with hard-coded stats and or some logic that some people may not have really considered. Alright guys, so starting it off with number 1, and this is one that I can't believe I forgot about for the first episode because it's a huge mistake that a lot of really beginner players make, and that is using FMJ to increase the damage of your gun. This does not happen. You don't get a damage increase by putting FMJ on your gun. I know the little stat bars, when you're in the attachment page and you put FMJ on, the little stat bar says increased damage. Keep in mind, those stat bars are basically meaningless. They're supposed to give you a general indication of what kind of a gun it is, but they really don't mean anything when you look at the actual hard-coded stats. FMJ does not increase your damage at all. All it does is it decreases the amount of damage reduction that you get when you're firing through a surface. So if you're not firing through a surface, there's no impact whatsoever to damage, and when you are firing through a surface, you still are losing some damage, but you lose less damage when you have FMJ on. Moving on to number 2, this is a relatively new class mistake that people are making. It didn't apply before because this big patch didn't happen until just recently. But that is combining the grip attachment with the Varix sight or the recon or the thermal sight. Now, like I said, this is a relatively new thing, and this also may end up getting patched, so this may not apply down the road. I'll keep you guys updated with like an annotation on the screen if this does change in the future, because they may nerf these sights again. But basically, the Varix, the recon, and the thermal sight all got a pretty massive buff to their recoil reduction. So they reduce recoil quite a bit more than a foregrip even reduces recoil. And what happens when you combine grip with either the recon or the Varix is the grip will actually override the recoil reduction that you get from the Varix or the recon. And keep in mind that recoil reduction was better than what a grip can do, but now the grip overrides it, so it makes it less accurate than it would be if you had no grip on there. It sounds kind of weird, but the Varix sight and the recon sight are more accurate without a grip than they would be with a grip. As for the thermal sight, you don't get any negative impact by putting grip with the thermal sight, but you also get absolutely zero positive impact with putting the grip on the thermal sight. Basically, the thermal sight overrides the grip in this scenario rather than the grip overriding the thermal sight. And therefore the grip is literally useless. It does absolutely nothing, so you're completely wasting a point on grip if you're combining it with the thermal sight. Moving on to number 3, this one's also relatively common, and it basically just comes down to a lack of understanding of how the perks work, and that is using the ghost perk and then camping, or playing really defensively and not moving around very much. Some people still aren't aware that ghost only works in this game while you're moving. Now I do have a really detailed breakdown of the ghost perk. Again, I will just link that in the description below if you want to check it out. But the basic premise is if you aren't moving with the ghost perk, you will show up on the enemy's radar. And the way to tell if you are going to be showing up on the enemy's radar is your little yellow arrow on the minimap. If it's really bright yellow like normal, then you're showing up on the radar. If it's faded away though, then that means that UAVs will not pick you up. And also keep in mind that if the enemy has a hater up, doesn't matter if you're moving or not, they will still see you with the ghost perk. So just keep that in mind if you're somebody that likes to play really defensively and you want to stay off the enemy's radar. It's not going to work out for you using the ghost perk unless you're moving around in a decent sized area. Moving on to number 4, this is a fairly specific one, but for a lot of people that are going for like dark matter or something for instance, or they just enjoy using pistol only classes, that is basically using a pistol only class without using Scavenger. I see some people making these classes, and I'm talking about the people that are actively going to be using the pistols. They're not planning on picking guns up off the ground. Like they want to be getting kills with their pistols, and then they don't use the Scavenger perk. It's pretty much a complete waste because the pistols typically don't come with a ton of ammo to start with, And if you end up going on any kind of a streak, you're going to run out of ammo very, very quickly. So always make sure you're running Scavenger if you're running a pistol-only class, especially if you're going for something like Dark Matter, and your main goal is to use those pistols. So finally, for number 5, this one is a little bit more opinion-oriented, and it's assuming you're not going for any specific challenges for the Overkill wildcard. But that is basically running Overkill on a class, and then using 2 very similar primary guns. So like 2 SMGs, or an SMG and an assault rifle, or something along those lines. In my opinion, I feel like that's a complete waste because there are often guns everywhere on the ground, and usually pretty good guns laying around on the ground, and you can always go and pick them up, instead of wasting all your perk points on getting a wildcard for Overkill, as well as that new primary gun, and then any attachments you want on that new primary gun. I feel like that's just a complete waste. Now, I was initially just going to say never run Overkill, and it's always a mistake to run Overkill. And that's just not true. If you are like sniping, for instance, and you want like a shotgun as a secondary, then absolutely, that totally makes sense because you're using one gun to make up for the other gun's weaknesses. So you have that sniper rifle for picking people off at a distance, and then if you get rushed by somebody or you know somebody's flanking you or something, you can swap to that shotgun and be very confident that you're going to win that gunfight up close, and then you can switch back and continue your sniping. This makes sense. For pretty much anything else, I would say it really is a waste of several perk points because there's often many opportunities to pick things up off the ground, and it's completely free as far as your class goes to pick things up off the ground. So there we have it. That's 5 more class mistakes that I see people make in Black Ops 3 fairly often. I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys see as big class mistakes that people are making in Black Ops 3? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.